Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know the one shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know the one shooting straight from the hip.
Hi, everybody. I forgot to add myself to the stream. How you doing? It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Curvy Film Critic at the Curvy Critic at Carla Renata. You know what I'm saying. Anywho, y'all know I don't do Halloween, so we don't have no tricks or no treats. But we got lots of interviews for you, and I'm gonna fix my hair in a minute. Anyway, we'll pull that one. There we go. Now it's even. And I still look crazy, but it's okay. If this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here on Halloween, and subscribe to the channel. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook Live, or you're on the Twitter, or you're on LinkedIn, welcome to this podcast. Whether you see it live or whether you see it after the fact, I appreciate you stopping by. I got a jam-packed show for you. I have the cast of Manifest on Netflix. I have Sigourney Weaver and Elizabeth Banks from Call Me Jane, Wunmi Mosaku from Call Me Jane, and the director Phyllis Nagy from Call Me Jane. But you know, I always start the week out telling y'all what I did with my week and what, the shenanigans and things that I was up to. But before I do that, I want to tell you what my boy Brandon says, because he always drops by. So has he dropped by? Yeah, he did. He dropped by. So he said that he wanted to pop by and say, hey, that he had a great birthday yesterday. His classes and his webcomic are going well, and he can't wait for November's animated stuff to Strange Worlds by Disney. And he's watching more Hero Academia and The Loud House, and December's movie Puss in Boots 2, which I'm hearing reactions saying it's really good, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I've actually seen Puss in Boots, and I can attest it is quite lovely. So without further ado, let me get back to what I did this week. So I think as I ended the week last week, I was telling y'all that I have that I was going to be on KCUR 89.3 talking about some movies. So I talked about Dahmer, I talked about Till, I talked about The Woman King, and I talked about a couple of other things. But you can go to their Twitter page and or their Instagram page and or their page on Facebook and listen to that interview in real time. I also told you that I had two pieces that were showing up. One was an op-ed for RogerEbert.com on Till. That is online as well under RogerEbert.com. And then this piece ran in the print version and the digital version of Variety. I'm so proud of it. It features all of the Black artisans who worked on The Woman King, A Jazzman's Blues, and oh God, what's the other one? Woman King, Jazzman's Blues, and Till. That was the other one. So make sure that you guys check those out if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, so I wanted to make you aware of that. And not for nothing, but let me just talk about this first and foremost. Y'all know that the Bodyguard is celebrating an anniversary, right? Whitney Houston won so many Grammys for this particular movie. It is an iconic film, even more iconic now that she's no longer with us. But Fathom Events is having a screening of it beginning November 6th and November 9th only. So if you go to Fathom, FATHOM, events.com, you can find out where it is screening in a city near you. This is the 30th anniversary of The Bodyguard. Can you even believe that? I can't even believe The Bodyguard is 30 years old. But let me tell you something. I'm the biggest fan of The Bodyguard ever because I'm a ginormous fan of Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner. Listen, Kevin Costner don't know it, but he's going to be my husband before this thing we call life is over with. I have the biggest crush on Kevin Costner. And of course, you know I'm playing, but Kevin Costner is my dude. I've seen every movie that he's ever been in, and I just kind of love him. I love him so very much. But I digress. Let's finish talking about The Bodyguard. So, The Bodyguard opened on November 25th in 1992. And during that time, I was actually in Australia. And I went to the movie theater because the movie theaters at that time were cheap in Australia. I went to the movie theater every day and I watched The Bodyguard because I just was like, I'm in love with Kevin Costner, and I just went and watched Kevin Costner on a big screen every day. And then when I found out at a Q&A here in LA that he was from Compton, I'm like, okay, I knew you was a brother deep down inside, and that's why the sisters go for you. Anywho, I digress yet again. But the budget for The Bodyguard was $25,000, and it ended up grossing worldwide $411,000, $46 and 400 and I'm sorry, $411 million, 46 4 411 46 449. Figure it out. Put the commas in. I'm bad at math. Clearly, you already figured that out. Oh my God, I'm such a hot mess. But anywho, it made over $400 million. Let's just put it that way. And in this film, Whitney Houston makes her film debut as Rachel Marin, a pop music superstar. It seems that one of her fans is stalking her and has threatened her. So her manager has brought in Frank Farmer, played by Kevin Costner, a professional bodyguard and former Secret Service agent, it, to, to protect her. Rachel ends up being an Oscar nominated superstar, and yeah, so that's it. But I always like to talk about facts from films like these, because whenever these things come out, there are things about the movie that you never know. So I talked about the Grammys and how much it won. I want to show you this picture of David Foster. He's so proud of this. He wrote a lot of the songs on the Bodyguard soundtrack. That soundtrack was nominated for 4 Grammy Awards. It won 3, including Album of the Year, for the album of the same name, The Bodyguard. There was a hit musical made out of The Bodyguard starring Deborah Cox. There's Miss Deborah Cox. And there was also, what else? Oh, I got to talk about this because, anyway, this was the poster to the soundtrack, which I love this picture because it has my boy, what? Kevin Costner in it. Just saying. And then this picture, what? Because Kevin Costner's in it. I love that moment where the camera's swirling around them as they're kissing in front of the plane one last time. Child, I am like an old school romantic, and I got my entire life. And then, of course, this picture of her singing I Have Nothing right before the fireworks go off. But let me tell you a few little facts about Miss Bodyguard as we are talking about her, because there's a lot of facts and things that even I didn't know. So, one of the things that I didn't know is that this film was originally proposed in the 70s, and it was supposed to star Diana Ross and Steve McQueen, but it was rejected as too controversial. The film concept was to be attempted again in the late 70s with Ryan O'Neal and Diana Ross as the leads. The project fell through only a few months because there were irreconcilable differences between O'Neal and Ross, who actually had been dating. The mansion, Rachel's mansion in The Bodyguard, is the same mansion that they used in The Godfather, where they found the horse's head in the Hollywood producer's mansion. It's the same house. That I did not know. I also did not know that Pat Benatar, the late Olivia Newton-John, Madonna, Joan Jett, Debbie Harry, Janet Jackson, Terry Nunn, Kim Carnes, and Dolly Parton were all considered for the role of Rachel Marin. Kevin Costner reportedly denied Madonna an audition because she had made a gag joke at his expense in Madonna Truth and Dare. Ooh, girl, you should have kept them things to yourself. Um, Whitney Houston, during the course of the production, she suffered a miscarriage and missed a couple of weeks of production while she recovered. The script writer for The Bodyguard, Lawrence Kasdan, was also the director of The Big Chill. Kevin Costner starred in that movie but was cut out. He was also the director of Silverado and Wyatt Earp, all of which are films that Kevin Costner worked in with Lawrence Kasdan. So they go way back. And then Kevin Costner revealed in 2019, almost 27 years after the release of The Bodyguard, that the woman he is carrying on that movie poster, guess what, y'all? It's not Whitney Houston. I'm gagging. I don't know about you, but I'm gagging. That woman in the poster that he's carrying is actually Whitney's double. Whitney had left the set to have some rest. So Kevin Costner decided to shoot the picture with her double. He only told her to keep her face hidden so she could show the fear that the character was experiencing. Costner himself picked the definitive photo that was later used in the movie poster. So that is not Whitney Houston in that movie poster where he's carrying her. So those are some little known facts about The Bodyguard that I just wanted to share with y'all because I kind of love that movie and I can't believe that it has been 30 years already. I can't even fathom it. I can't. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. It's the 30th anniversary of The Bodyguard. Go check fathomevents.com and see everything that there is to see about where it is playing in a theater near you. If you have never seen this film on a big screen, go see it on a big screen. Seeing it on your television is not the same. Go to a theater and watch it. You will get your entire life. I promise you that. All right, so let's get into these interviews. I talked to the entire cast of Manifest, which is on Netflix. And if you don't know about Manifest, Manifest is this series that, let me see, what does it deal with? It deals with 2 years after the brutal murder of Grace has turned their lives upside down. This is season 4. The Stone family is in a shambles as a devastated Ben continues to mourn his wife and in search for his kidnapped daughter, Eden. Consumed by his grief, Ben has stepped down from his role as co-captain of the lifeboat, having Michaela to captain it alone. A near impossible feat with the passengers, every move now being monitored by a government agency as the death date draws closer and passengers grow desperate for a path to survival. A mysterious passenger arrives with a package for Cal that changes everything they know about Flight 828 and will prove to be the key to unlocking the secret of the callings in this compelling, mind-bending, and deeply emotional journey. Now, having said that, I did extensive interviews with all of the cast members, every single solitary one of them. But to save time, I edited into a 6-minute version, and I will have the full version of all the interviews with everybody you see in this package up on my YouTube channel momentarily. But I asked them this question: if they knew that their life was going to end, how would they continue to live and love from that moment forward? And this is what they all said. So here, without further ado, is the cast of Manifest on Netflix. Season 4 debuts on November 4th. Hi, Josh.
How are you?
It's good to see you. Last time I saw you, Josh, you were serenading me. We were singing Christmas songs or something.
I remember. How have you been? I'm sorry I didn't.
That is hilarious. Melissa's like, why am I not invited to the party? What's going on?
No, I mean, Josh does love a good serenade. I'll give him that.
That is hilarious. And when I talked to you last, this had just Manifest had just started. So now we're like 4 seasons in, and so many things have shifted and changed. But without giving away what's happening with the show, I just got to ask y'all this. Did y'all want to snatch a knot in Egan or what? Because I wanted to snatch a knot in him for you. I won't say why, but did you want to snatch him? Because I wanted to snatch him.
Always, yes.
He says the wrong thing all the time, and he's just a pain in the butt. But we do have bigger fish to fry in season 4. I'll just say that.
Yes, but I had to say that.
I've been not to do that because he's afraid he'll sink the lifeboat.
Oh Lord, that's a whole nother, but we're not even gonna go down that rabbit hole. But I want to ask you this: if in real life your life could be resurrected, how would you live your life from this moment on? How would you live for today, and how would you love?
It's kind of something I'm learning now, and as you get older, you gain more wisdom, and I think that'll just continue and continue. So I don't know if my answer right now might be different a year from now, but I think it just the notion of doing something even though you're scared, or saying something even though you're scared, if it's true to what you want and need.
I think I would concentrate more on service, on being present, and self-love.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's, the question that people ask themselves sometimes, isn't it? Well, I mean, you tell the people that you love them, and you'd spend every waking moment with them. You'd enjoy every moment, hopefully, knowing that you can't change what's coming, and that hopefully you would have peace with it, and that you would just be grateful for the moments that you did have and make the most of them.
Literally everything Matt said was beautiful and perfect. I would just add, I would travel more. I would make sure I would experience a little bit more of the world. I haven't traveled enough, and that's just, I want to experience more cultures and see more of what this beautiful planet of ours has to offer before it would be taken away from me.
I would like to probably take somebody that I love to Walt Disney World and just spend the last few days there.
You going to Disney World, huh?
Yeah, that would actually be ideal for me. That would be ideal for me.
I mean, it would really just be spending time doing the most mundane of things, because that's what you miss. You hear people all the time when they lose someone, what do they miss? Or it's the hearing the door shut when I knew that it was them coming in, or just hearing them walk down the hall. I would want to have the most mundane, everyday kind of day.
Wow.
Wow.
I love that. Holly?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I would just want to be with my parents and be at home with them and have like a nice English roast dinner, like our family dinner, and some good conversation and watch a movie with each other. That's it. Quality time.
Jeez.
She's like, why are you asking me a deep question? You just having so much fun.
Carla's getting to it. I like it.
Oh my God. I think as any human instinct, I'd try and figure out what's going on and like why I've been put forward 5.5 years, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't know, put forward 5.5 years. And I think, I don't know, just look at all the things I had that for me, Luna personally, that would be like a real crazy move. That would be crazy. That would be like an insane. I don't know if I'd adjust as well as Olive Stone did. And I don't even think Olive Stone adjusted well to that at all.
No, I would say
not. It'd be a little cuckoo.
Yeah, it'd be a disaster.
I'd go Ben Stone season 4. That's what happened.
That is hilarious. Do you agree?
I mean, I agree completely. It'd be a train wreck for sure.
Yeah.
I'd go into it with an attitude of I'm going to do it right this time. But when does that ever work out the way you hope it's going to? God laughs when you make plans. I think what I would try to take away is I mean, you talked about learning to love each other. It is and I think a big message of the show is learning to love from like your own humanity, right? It's an inherently vulnerable thing to share you with another person, and I think that's what love is. And I wish I had learned that a little earlier in life. Maybe if Manifest had come along a little sooner, I would have been a more caring, like 15-year-old. Instead, I was kind of a butthole.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you still got time. You young. You're
There you
little
go.
nugget. You
Thank
still
you.
got time. Y'all, this was so much fun. I enjoyed talking to you, and I really enjoyed you in the show. Thank you so much for giving us something to watch that is so deep and thought-provoking and really laden with beautiful performances like the two of yours. Thank you for your
That's so
time.
sweet.
Thank you, Carla.
I loved talking to them. We actually had a lot of fun talking about this show, but it is going to be on Netflix beginning November 4th. Again, I have full versions of my interviews with all of the cast, which include, let me say all of their names: Josh Dallas, Melissa Roxburgh, J.R. Ramirez, Matt Long, Parveen Kaur, Daryl Edwards, and Holly Taylor. They are all starring in Manifest on Netflix beginning season 4 on November 4th, which is coming up in just a few days. All right. So having said that, I talked to y'all last week about Call Jane, this movie that I really, really, really love. I'm a big, if you've ever seen any of my social media, you know that I'm a big proponent of women women's rights, the women's movement in whatever incarnation it comes in. And I had the opportunity to speak to these divas, Miss Elizabeth Banks and Miss Sigourney Weaver, who star in the film called Jane. And it is a deep, deep, deep film. I enjoyed it immensely. And I was so excited to be able to talk to the ladies about this series because it is just, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's not a true story. Let me just say that it is not a true story, but it is a very intense story, and I highly suggest watching it. So we'll go ahead and get started with this Call Jane party with its director, Phyllis Nagy. Here we go. Hi, Phyllis.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Thank you so much
Good.
for asking. When I watched Call Jane during the Sundance Film Festival, I kind of left with this power of feeling like sisterhood transcends color. And when we make things happen, you know what I mean? And so having said that, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on, at this juncture in history with women and reproductive rights, how do you think we can mobilize moving forward?
You know, we're going to have to, obviously. We'll see what happens during the midterms, but yes, it's already, someone told me the economy is already, you know, bumped off abortion as the main issue. I mean, they're not unconnected, but okay. I wonder if what's going to need to happen is that a group like the Janes has to be way more diverse than the original Janes.
This incarnation, yeah.
You know, that of course was a function of the time, the place they were in, the cost of the procedure. That's how they recruited members, right? You know, somebody would have an abortion and then they join and so on. And it wasn't until they started doing the procedures themselves that they could open the ranks. You know, you got $10, you can, you know, come in, and the organization did become more diverse. Today, I'm not sure how you can do that otherwise. You know, you have to do it from the get-go. And they have to take a back seat, you know, those white feminists who are used to running the show, I guess.
I saw this quote where you said holding fear and fearlessness close would always keep you honest in your filmmaking, that you felt that way. And I'm just wondering, did you feel that way during the journey of directing Call Jane?
I knew that there would always be people that would not think that this is a, quote, laughing matter, right? And of course it is. Everything is. Everything has humor in it. Life has humor in it. But also I thought, I'm going to really do this. I'm going to put an entire abortion procedure on film. And I've never seen that. So it was terrifying because it could have just been awful. And I don't think it is.
It's not.
Yeah. So yes, there was a great fear, but once you get on set and you're making it, that's where the fearlessness comes in. You just say, no, that's right. We move forward. We do this. And I think those two things do keep a director in particular honest.
I am a big fan of your work. I'm a big fan of you. I'm always so excited when I see your name attached to a project. And I thank you so very much for giving me a slice of your time today. I really wholeheartedly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. I was a little more excited than Phyllis, but that's okay. I'm still a fan anyway. I think I was at the end of her day and she probably just whooped, but she did give me some great answers to the questions that I asked. So next up is Wunmi Mosaku. You will know Wunmi Mosaku from a plethora of things. You will know her from Lovecraft Country. You will know her from Loki. You will know her from so many different things, but she has a small but integral role in Called Jane. And we talked about one scene in particular that kind of struck me a certain way, and she broke it down for me. So here's my interview one-on-one with Miss Wunmi Mosaku from Called Jane. Hi, Wunmi. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Last time I saw you was during Loki, girl. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
You're like, yes, I
You
love that
well?
outfit. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
You
Thank
always come correct. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about Call Jane. How much did you know about the Janes before you signed on to do this project?
I knew nothing before I read the script. So reading the script, I honestly thought it was a bit far fetched. I was like, this isn't real. This household wife wouldn't. And what? And when I got to the end of the script and I read all the facts and figures, I was like, wow, these women existed. They are real. They did this and they did it safely. Wow. Like that just blew my mind.
I know it's quite astounding when you really sit back and think about it. And I
Yeah.
remember when June 24th happened this year and that ruling came down, I cried like a baby because I just had this visceral reaction knowing that moving forward, every young girl is not going to have the opportunities that you or I had. And it made me tremendously sad, which brings me to this. There's a moment where your character says, it's interesting how economic always seems to mean that Black women get screwed. And I just want to know how you feel about that, because it's a reality. Because even during the time of the Janes, the only people that were able to have access were people of means, which at that time basically meant, wealthy white women.
We went back and forth about that scene because I felt like it wasn't hard enough, it wasn't strong enough, the argument and the reason why she stayed. Like we need a reason for Gwen to stay in that room. And considering most people seeking abortion care in the US are Black, brown, and low income, I felt like we needed their voices in the room too. And I just learned this the other day that I think it's the Hyde Amendment meant that abortion care still wasn't on Medicare or Medicaid.
That's right.
And so I mean, it's just so painful. It's just so painful that everything is about race and everything's about money. And it's like, well, if you fall out of those catchment areas, you get forgotten about and told to fend for yourself. Yeah, we workshopped that a lot, and I spoke to a lot of Black women, Black American women, because I wanted to make sure that it was her argument was honest of the time and and respectful. Yeah, because the feminist movement, we know when it comes down to intersectionality, we're not always on the same page. We're not always trying to protect the people who, as much as we're women, we have different fears, different oppression, differences, and sometimes the feminist movement aren't willing to like see us and include us. So I thought that was really important, and I'm glad that it's there in the film. I'm glad we worked on it.
I'm glad you worked on it. I'm glad you're in the film. And I thank you so much for breaking that down for me, because when I came away from it, I couldn't wait to ask you about that. And I wish I had so much more time, so I have so many more questions, but I'll talk to you again.
Okay, definitely see you again.
All right, bye.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you.
I love Wunmi because Wunmi is such a deep, thought-provoking sister. She gave it a different flavor, thought-provoking wise, that I had thought about, but didn't think about in that moment to ask her. So I'm glad that she brought it to the forefront so that it was a topic of discussion. And I'd love to know what you guys think after you've seen her interview. Okay, well, before I get to this interview, actually, no, I'm just going to go to this interview. So the last interview from the cast of Call Jane is with Elizabeth Banks and Sigourney Weaver. Yeah. and they have some things to say about the midterm elections as well. So here we go. Take a look and a listen to this interview with two of the stars from Call Jane, Sigourney Weaver and Miss Elizabeth Banks.
Hi,
Hi,
Carla.
Love the curvy film critic. Excellent. Excellent.
Elizabeth, I met you through Megan Mullally during COVID. We used to do those Zoom things.
Yes, you were on one of those. Megan
I was on a
Mullally
lot
throws
of them.
like these very interesting women's collective like hangs, and that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to start it out with that, something light and fluffy. And after having said that, I wanted to know the power of sisterhood sort of transcends color is what I got when I watched Call Jane, and your performances in this film were amazing. Elizabeth, I really think that this is a career best for you.
Thank you.
I really do. And I've seen all of you all's work, and I wholeheartedly mean that. But having said that, how do you think, even though sisterhood transcends color, when we mobilize, we make things happen, right? So in light of all the recent events, how do you ladies think that we as women can mobilize moving forward?
Well, I think right now we're in a particular time because we're about to have a midterm election, and this is the moment for women to come together. We are not only more than half of the country, we are more than half of all voters, right? Women love to get into that voting booth. And I think this is the moment to really collectively come together and put our energy back into supporting each other. One of the messages of this film is that you may never walk this path yourself, but you need to build a little more empathy and care for those who do. It might not be right for you, but you don't get the right to tell anybody else what to do with their body or their life. And I think that's a really basic thing that most women understand. And unfortunately, we got to go to the ballot box to win it back for ourselves.
I think that, I think everyone's still in shock from that decision that was handed down. I think it's easy to be quite gloomy about the whole thing. And I think Call Jane is about a group of women who, were not doing what they were doing in an easy time. They showed great courage, great respect for each other. They listened to each other. You see every kind of woman coming in to have this procedure, which to me is part of women's basic health care. And so I think that the movie, I hope, will be inspiring to women, remind us of how powerful we are when we come together, and that there's really nothing we can't do, because we love to form a consensus and we can reach each other. The political thing is not going to determine who we are. We just have to reach out to each other as women.
I agree with everything that you guys said, and I wish I had more time with you because there's so many more trajectories of this subject that I would love to approach with both of you, because you're such strong, savvy, smart women that I would love to have that conversation. But alas, I have run out of time. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and I appreciate you, and I love this film so much. It's so timely.
Thank you. And
Thanks
vote.
for
Don't
having
forget to
us.
vote, and thank you for loving the movie. We
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it.
My pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
That's right, y'all. Don't forget to vote in states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, even here in Cali, in Los Angeles. We have early voting going on right now as we speak. Hit those ballot boxes, because you can't complain if you don't vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. That's all I'm going to say about that. I will get off of my soapbox. So that is it for all of the interviews this week. But I want to remind you guys about one other thing before we go. The AFI Film Festival is happening in Los Angeles from November 2nd to November 6th. I'll be seeing a plethora of films, including The Fabelmans, She Said, The Inspection, and a couple of other films that are playing during the festival. And I will tell you all about it as we go along. And I will also recap it next week when we come back. And I will tell you in just a second what else I'm going to talk about when we come back. But I just want to recap what I talked about today. So I want to make sure that you guys remember that I have this interview that I did at KCUR 89.3, the NPR station in Kansas City, Missouri, where myself and Mariah E. Peters talked about some things to stream and some things to go to the movies to see. I need for you to check out these articles. One that I wrote for Variety, which is in print and in digital, called Pin Curls, Braids, Define Looks for Black Period Films, where I feature the artisans from The Woman King, Till, and A Jazz Man's Blues. I also need for you to mark those calendars, baby, to check out The Bodyguard's 30th anniversary, being done through Fathom Events in theaters November 6th and 9th. And I think that might be about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about all of those things. And then I also wanted to tell you that next week, dun, 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 I don't have any pictures for this because I don't think I can show pictures for it, but next week I will have the entire cast of Wakanda Forever, including the 3 leading ladies, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrera, and Letitia Wright. I'll also have the director, the producer, Nate Moore, and 2 new cast members, Mabel Cadena, who plays Namora, and Alex Livanali, who is also in the film. So I have those 5 people from Wakanda Forever. I'm also going to be talking about Spirited, which is a new film coming to Apple TV Plus, starring Will Ferrell and Octavia Spencer. And I will give you, and The Fablemans. I'll be talking a little, I talked about The Fablemans before, but I'll talk a little bit more about The Fablemans and give you a recap of what is going on at the AFI Film Festival, because it should be a lot of fun and I'm really, really looking forward to it. So thank you so much in advance for popping by and saying hello and watching the podcast. I really appreciate it. I love when y'all pop in and say hello and watch. And I love when you watch it after the fact and talk to me and say hello. If this is your first time joining me, I am Carla Renata. This is the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. What we do here is we do film reviews and we talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. Give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you were here. Child, I got my sweater on because it's a tad bit chilly in the LA. Just saying, it's a tad bit chilly in the LA, but you know, sister got to do what she got to do. But thank you so much for popping by, and I will see you guys next Monday talking all things Wakanda Forever. All right. So until then, wash your hands, stay safe, have a happy and safe Halloween if you popped in real time to watch me, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye now. Deuces.